and Jean Wholaver were a married couple that had a family of 4 with their 2 daughters, Victoria, age 20, and Elizabeth, age 15. The family appeared to everyone else as a regular modern-day family, and it appeared this way also to Jean, until one day she discovered that Ernest had been molesting both of his daughters for years, and Jean never knew. The moment that Jean found this out, she immediately filed for divorce from Ernest and also obtained an order of protection for her girls, not knowing what Ernest would do next, after being found out and evicted from the home and arrested afterwards. But during his first hearing, he was granted bail, in which he paid $100,000 to bail himself out. As you would imagine, the divorce was not pretty. At one point before, Victoria had moved out of the house and had a baby named Madison. But when the separation between Jean and Ernest took place, she decided to move back in with Jean to try to start the healing process and eventually move on. After making bail, Ernest moved back in with his parents and his 28-year-old brother, Scott Wholaver. It was said that Ernest was furious with Jean and the fact that she was divorcing him, and spoke of killing her quite often. And whether his family took him serious or not, they were not ready for what he was about to do next. It was just after midnight on Christmas Eve. Ernest and his brother drove to the family home that he once shared with Jean and his 2 daughters. Jean, Victoria, and Elizabeth, and Victoria's daughter were all at the home at the time. Ernest made Scott park down the block from the home so that they wouldn't be recognized, especially due to the fact that they weren't supposed to be there. Ernest snuck down the street to the house, and when reaching the home, he cut the wires outside of the house, including the telephone line. Afterwards, he forcefully made his way into the house. When entering, he immediately shot Jean, and soon after, shot Victoria and Elizabeth, his own daughters. After doing so, he left the house, and also left the only being that he decided to let live, which was Victoria's little baby girl, Madison. He left her in the home by herself, sitting beside her mother's body. After leaving the home, Ernest and his brother drove to Clearfield County and disposed of the evidence that could connect them to the crime. 28 hours later, the bodies of Jean, Victoria, and Elizabeth were discovered, and also the little baby girl that thankfully was still alive. When investigating the crime scene, the police had a very good idea who may have been involved, due to the previous history the family had with the police. A warrant had been put out for Ernest's arrest along with the vehicle, and there was also a warrant placed on the home of Ernest's parents. Both Ernest and Scott were eventually captured and charged with the murder of the family. While in jail, before the trial started, Ernest was informed that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania planned on seeking the death penalty. While on trial, Scott decided to plead guilty to third-degree murder and also testify against his brother Ernest. He led the police to where the firearms were, so the Commonwealth presented Scott as a key witness against his brother. Scott told his side of the story and revealed that due to the divorce, Ernest had spoken about killing Jean quite often. He also claimed that when he agreed to take Ernest to the home, that he had no knowledge that this was what he had planned to do all along. That the reason that he was given was that Ernest wanted to pick up the family dog. And then, when Ernest returned to the car, he appeared very frazzled and told Scott to lie about their whereabouts if anybody were to ask. The Commonwealth also offered testimony from several prisoners that heard Ernest speaking about the murders. They also had evidence of Ernest's jail-based efforts to try and hire someone to kill the father of Victoria's child, Francisco Ramos, and then fabricate the evidence of the murders to look like Ramos committed the crimes. But the defense also came with another story to what they believe had actually happened. They suggested that there was a man that was involved with Victoria romantically that committed the murders. But the Commonwealth were able to provide evidence that the gun that was used had been registered to Ernest's uncle, and they also presented the statements of Ernest's own daughters, Victoria and Elizabeth, from the sexual assault case prior. Ernest Wholaver was convicted of first-degree murder and was given 3 death sentences. and Scott Wholaver was convicted as well and sentenced to 12 to 20 years. Ernest Wholaver is still on death row to this day.